What is up, guys? I'm the Senator, and today I'm going to share with you an idea that I think could possibly result in a lot more people using the DMRs in Rainbow Six Siege. Okay, so the designated Marksmen Rifles, or DMRs in Rainbow Six Siege, is a weapon type that does not get a whole lot of love, and it's for obvious reasons. In a close quarters combat game like Siege, where you expect most engagements to take place within a very short distance between players, it makes more sense to bring a weapon that may have significant lower damage, but has a higher fire rate and is actually automatic, whereas DMRs are all semi-automatic. However, I think it's kind of a shame that we have this entire weapon class in this game that is never used unless you're someone who likes to play as Glaz or Dokkaebi, or you're someone who can't handle the recoil of the F2 or Bucks C8. And I don't think that I'm the only one who sees this as a shame. The developers buffed the DMRs at the beginning of, I believe it was Void Edge, it may have been Shifting Tides, but I think it was Void Edge, to where the DMRs could actually open a hatch with just a few shots. But honestly, there's not really much more they could really do with DMRs in this game if they really wanted to buff them. They already dish out a huge amount of damage, and they are already fairly easy to control. And before I go any further, I just want to say that this isn't near the top of the bigger problems in Siege, so don't take this video as something that I think needs to be looked at, and this should be at the top of Ubisoft's to-do list. I'm just throwing this out there as a concept because I don't like that there's an entire weapon class in this game that isn't really used and is not effective, but I understand why it's not used, but I think there needs to be a bigger incentive to actually use these weapons. So I was thinking that since DMRs are best suited for longer engagements, and Rainbow Six Siege is a close quarters combat game, what could be done to the DMR to make it more effective in close quarters combat? And I immediately thought about the ACOG. You'd be stupid to run the DMR without an ACOG. This is a weapon designed for long engagements and has very, very little recoil, so there's really no reason to not have the ACOG equipped. However, taking close engagements in some instances can be very difficult with an ACOG. Being zoomed in with the ACOG can really disrupt a player's field of view, and you'll have a much wider field of view if you use a holographic sight as opposed to an ACOG. And Braxton actually made a video kind of going over this last week, and I'll try to remember to put a link to it down below in the description. I highly recommend you go check it out. But in that video, he discussed why he runs a holo on most of his rifles and not an ACOG, because this is a game where most engagements are extremely close quarters. And when taking on close quarters engagements, it would usually be more beneficial to have the holographic sight that has a wider field of view. And this is coming from Braxton, who's a very skilled player, and he actually plays in Challenger League. So, as I said earlier, the DMR is a weapon that you're going to be running an ACOG with, or you should be running an ACOG with. It's a weapon that can be a struggle in close quarters combat because it is semi-automatic. So why not give the DMR the option of running an ACOG as well as a reflex sight? And I know a lot of you may be super confused by that statement, and you're going to be thinking, how are you going to put two sights on one rifle? Well, let me explain. I think that Ubisoft should give players that run the DMR an option to put an offset sight on their rifle. And for those of you who don't really know what an offset sight is, basically what you do is you have the ACOG on the top rail, as it usually would be, and that'll work as your primary sight. And whenever you want to take a close quarters gunfight where an ACOG may make your field of view a whole lot smaller, you can turn your rifle 45 degrees counterclockwise and use the reflex sight that is mounted on the side of your rifle. I know some of you may be thinking that, this is stupid and just get good with the ACOG at close quarters, and most people don't have a problem with the ACOG at close quarters, and you'd be right. But I think that this would be a way to incentivize people using the DMR and make it a lot more alluring, and you would be able to get some good use out of it, because as of right now, the DMR is pretty much non-existent. And some of you may be thinking, how could this possibly work? And you may not on the surface like the idea that you may have to hit a different button to use a different sight, and console players may be concerned because they only have so many buttons, and as of right now they can't even lean without aiming down sights. Well, since it's a DMR and the only firing mode it has is semi-automatic, the simple solution would be to use the firing mode button as a toggle between the ACOG and the reflex sight, or possibly even have an iron sight instead of the reflex sight, whatever you want. And it could work similar to the way that you'd switch between the 6x scope and the 12x scope with Kali. So this isn't something that's game changing. It's not something that Siege just absolutely needs, but I think it's a cool concept that may incentivize more people to use the DMR class that is not existent in this game. And I know most players do fine in extremely close quarters combat with the ACOG, but whenever the new recruit came out this season, I just for fun used the M14 that Doki has, and I slapped a holographic sight on that thing. And I can say that without a doubt, I did a whole lot better at close quarters engagements within like 8 meters when using the sight that gave me a larger field of view. So to me, without a doubt, this would be a huge benefit to the DMR class. But again, this isn't something that's a must. It shouldn't be at the top of Ubisoft's priority list. I just thought this was a cool concept that would make the DMR class a whole lot better and more versatile. So that's about it for this video. I kept it pretty short, but while I have you here, I'm going to make a few announcements. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's gotten me to 10K. I cannot believe how much my channel has popped off in this past month. I started this channel on October 12th, 2019, and it took me until May 12th, 7 months, to hit the 1K mark. And here I am in the middle of June at 10K, so I cannot thank you guys enough. I also wanted to officially announce that I am a partner affiliate with Rogue Energy. They produce a high-quality, highly caffeinated energy drink marketed towards gamers, and their product is designed to improve your performance. So if you want to support the channel, go to Rogue Energy, link is down below in the description, and use code SENATOR at checkout to get 10% off your purchase. Also, one more thing, I made a post about this last week, and I'm going to say it here again for those of you who are subscribed and still may wonder and didn't see the post. As you can tell, my video is not the greatest quality in terms of resolution, and I get a lot of people asking why it's not in 1080p and why it's blurry, and that's honestly because my PC is extremely underpowered, and I'm a broke college student who really can't afford a new one at the moment. I can game no problem, but trying to record at 1080p causes significant frame drops, so I'd rather have it at 720p 60 frames than 1080p with 30 frames. So you may see an extra ad in my videos, and now I'm partnered with Rogue Energy, so hopefully I can build a decent PC in the near future. And so that's about it. Let me know down below what you guys think of my idea to have an offset sight on the DMRs. I'd love to hear what you guys think. But anyways, that's it. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the video. I'm the Senator, and as always, have a good one.